Welcome to Echoes of My Imagination. My name is Tracy Lee. Sit back, relax, let me tell you a story. Today's story is called The Skyship Archivist. In the year 3072 CE, high above the New Emerald Belt, the floating archive vessel Amaranth drifts through the upper skies. Let's get into it. In the high blue silence above the New Emerald Belt, where gravity whispered and light filtered in green-gold ribbons, Soraya Thorn floated between isles of living memory. The Amaranth, an ancient whispering skyship, held not cargo, but stories, thousands of them, encased in translucent biocrystal that shimmered as if lit from within. Each crystal held a soul's full memory, lifetimes distilled into truth. Soraya wasn't born into this life by accident. She was selected, grown even. In the old language, her name meant keeper of the long sun, and her birth was marked by a streaking aurora over the polar sky. She had no mother in the traditional sense. She came from the woven strand of 3 lines, an empath, a scholar, and a dream gardener. 3 strands braided in lab and spirit. She never questioned her origin. She simply was. By 12, she could hear the archives whisper when others heard only silence. By 17, she had memorized the entire section on planetary collapses and renewal cycles. By 30, her hands could pull memory from a crystal before touching it. But it was her empathy, her bone-deep connection to others, that made her invaluable. People came to the Amaranth for healing, for understanding, for fragments of themselves they'd lost. When they arrived, often in tears or silence, she would offer them tea made from moonfern and velvet root. Then she'd guide them, barefoot, down the ship's mossy corridor until a crystal pulsed at her. This was always the sign. She never forced a story. She never rushed the return. There was one client she would never forget, a boy no older than 15. He came up from the core colonies thin and shaking, with eyes too old for his face. His name was Kale, and he'd lost his voice after surviving a flood that swept away both his parents. When he stepped into the archive, he cried, not out of grief, but because it felt like home. Soraya guided him to a memory pod. What flickered inside was not his trauma, but a life before, a life where he'd been a forest guardian who spoke with wolves. He saw himself running barefoot through pine, singing names to stars. He saw joy. By the time he left, he was humming again, his silence broken by a memory not of pain, but of strength. Soraya kept that crystal beside her sleeping chamber. At 45, she was promoted to head archivist of the Upper Constellation Fleet. Her chamber was circular, filled with plants that adjusted to her moods. Vines leaned toward her. Her books rearranged themselves. Her closest companions were Maelis, a skyfarer turned alchemist who made potions that induced vivid dreams. Their relationship was a dance of sharp wit, fierce protection, and deep love. Goran, a talking raven shapeshifter. He nested above her window and stayed silent when she was heartbroken. And the ship, Amaranth, her truest confidant. It pulsed with music only she could hear and warned her before danger arose. She began writing stories herself, not of past lives, but of what she saw in people when they remembered who they were. Her gift was not saving, it was reminding. At 88, with silver in her lashes and skin lined like driftwood, she sensed the closing of her arc. She wasn't afraid. She left behind 118 books, hundreds of unlocked soul crystals, and a skyship filled with healing and laughter. When she lay down for the last time, Maelis was beside her. So was Goran, feathers ruffled and still. And Amaranth played a melody known only to the stars. And that's it for today. Thank you for joining me for Echoes of My Imagination. My name is Tracy Lee. Don't forget to subscribe, share, follow, and like, and I'll catch you next time.